Chapter 2. Philip's Story. Philip and Ben had been whispering throughout Scott's story. They obviously had something on their minds. When Scott was finished with his story, Philip said, "Ben and I both met dragons yesterday too." Scott was dumbfounded. How could we all have..." he asked. "Don't ask me," said Ben. "It's just some strange coincidence. I don't know how it could have happened." Scott was absolutely amazed. They had all met dragons without knowing on the same day, and they had all survived. In fact, all of them were totally unscathed. "Wow, this is just so weird, but it's cool. I mean, we're all alive and well, and we had no idea what each other was doing." His voice trailed off. "Yep," said Philip. "So who's next?" They argued about this for a few minutes, but in the end, they finally chose Philip. "Okay, I'll tell you about it," he said, and this is the story he told them. Philip returned home and sloppily completed his remaining homework in 20 minutes. He then stepped outside into his yard. Philip's yard consisted of a small area of grass and a large wood. The wood was made of trees that were perfect for climbing and making tree houses, which is exactly what Philip did. He carried with him some food, drinks, books, and other things to do in his treehouse. Philip merrily walked down the trail he had blazed through years of walking and wearing away at the ground. He was a stone's throw from the treehouse, then something strange caught his eye. A long white object sticking out of the ground resembling a young deer's curved horn. It was 10 inches long and about 3 inches wide. It was sharp at the tip, and it was shiny white. Philip walked over and knelt down on the ground. He touched the strange object. It twitched a little, but it was cold and hard. He tried to pick it up. He instantly fell on the ground a few feet from the object. A huge animal with razor-sharp claws came seemingly out of nowhere and pounced on Philip. He closed his eyes and felt something pin him down. Something hard was pressing against his shoulders. He opened his eyes to see, to his horror, a navy-blue dragon on top of him, growling and baring his teeth. "Who are you, and what are you doing?" growled the dragon in a rough voice. Philip was too shocked and terrified to say anything. Whenever he opened his mouth, he managed to get absolutely nothing. "Answer me!" said the dragon impatiently. Finally, Philip collected his voice and said, "I was just going to my treehouse." "Why were you grabbing at my claw?" asked the dragon. Now Philip understood what the object was. The dragon pressed harder on Philip's chest. He could hardly breathe. "I didn't know," he finally got out. The dragon's expression softened. His eyes became wider. He lifted his head and his foot. "I apologize. I overreacted again," he said. Philip was taking huge gulps of air. He stood up, brushed himself off, and sighed. "Are you all right?" the dragon asked. "I'm fine," said Philip. "Come into the cave." Philip cranked his neck around the dragon. He now saw where the dragon had come from. A deep burrow had been dug into the ground. It was like a cave, and it was big enough for a dragon to live in. Philip decided that this was the dragon's home. The dragon went down to the cave. Philip followed with his bag. "It's awfully dark in here," he said. The dragon responded by breathing a lick of flame onto some brush, wood, and leaves. Philip could now see what was inside the cave. There was small dead game lying on the ground, the result of the dragon's hunting. The dragon grabbed a dead raccoon and roasted it. It was very well skinned. "So what's your name?" asked Philip, who began to eat from his bag. "My name translates into English as Darius. That's what other humans have called me in the past," said the dragon, Darius. "Darius, cool name," said Philip. "How long have you been living here?" he asked. "Oh, almost 20 years, Darius said. "I've seen you in the trees before. I thought that you had seen me, so I decided to, "I understand," said Philip. "But now that you know I'm here, what'll I do?" Darius replied. "What do you mean?" said Philip.